A lot of you tell me you have formal living rooms that you don't use and you would rather turn them into something. And many of us who work out of our houses need a good looking home office. I'm going down to one of my clients' houses this afternoon to show her a merchandise list of some things I put together for this room we are working on. I've already done some other rooms in our house, and she said, you know what? The formal living room has just been piling up stuff and we really don't use it, and I would like to turn it into my office. So it would be an office for her. I said, absolutely, would be my pleasure. So a couple weeks ago, I was out somewhere and I saw a rug that I'm like, that would be perfect for her office. So sent her a picture of it. She approved it. That's usually how it works, where I see something, I send it to you, and you go, yeah, I love it. So I'm starting there in the base. It's a neutral rug, but it has a pattern to it. And she already has wood floors in this room. Some of you have carpet. Some of you are changing, instead of living rooms, you might have a spare bedroom. A kid has gone to college or something, and you're like, I want to change that into something that I would like. Some of you do craft rooms. There's all kinds of things you can do. Where do you start? The very first place I would start is cleaning out the room. Getting everything totally ready. Then you have to go. You have to go if you're going to do that. Sorry, you're not going to be part of this then. Okay. He got something taken care of the other day, and he will be out of my shot in a second if he keeps doing that. Okay. Take everything out of the room. Once you get everything out of the room, you'll see what you're left with. Now, especially when it's a formal living room, what I tend to find is they're in the beginning of the house and they're open to the rest of like the entry. Sometimes there's an archway. I had one that had French doors. I'm going to post pictures of that later. That job was actually done 10 years ago, and I'd still probably do it the same way. So I like to have you pick timeless, classic things. The one thing you might want to consider is adding trim to the room, like woodwork. There's a way you can do it with chair rail. There's a way you can do it with picture molding in that chair rail so it looks kind of the old classic. Not that it's supposed to look dining room at all, but it can enhance the look of your home office to make it look better. The other thing I'm doing a lot of lately, you probably see in my pictures, is board and batten. And you don't have to do board and batten low. I tend to prefer it high. My guys call it Pam height. I think I'm 5'7". That's about where I like it to hit, depending on the ceiling height. So that's not tried and true necessarily, depending on the ceiling. That gets all painted the trim color, and then up top you can do a darker color like a navy or a strong red, or yes, those saturated colors are coming back big time. Kelly green. But that's where you can do it because you've got a lot of white trim in the room. Recently I just did one too that's also, I did a darker color board and batten, and that's right to the trim, all that in that room. And then I did an even darker color up top because it was a masculine office. And that's the look I wanted for that. I really like how that turned out as well. If you want to spend a little bit more on trim and carpentry stuff, built-in bookcases. You know I'm a fan. They're probably in that shot a little bit right there. Love built-in bookcases. Love, 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 love library lights at the top. I love when bookcases go all the way down to the floor and you really do fill them with bookcases. I've done a living room like that once where we did bookcases, but we also made it into a dining room. So it almost looked like you were eating in the library. I saw that in an Architectural Digest one time. I'm like, that is a cool idea. And it looked really cool. So there's all kinds of ways you can add woodwork to make it look like a more custom room, not just an empty box. You'll see one of my pictures today as you're, analyzing the space. Just looks like an empty box. Let's make it a little more interesting or useful. Picture I'm going to show you today, I made my old office useful. The next thing you want to think about, what am I going to put in this room? Now if you're making a home office, I'm going to say one thing. Not a huge fan when you built in bookcases. If you put a desk in it, think about where your back is. Now when my clients walk in the front of my house, I don't want my back to them. I want to be facing out. There's something about a desk facing out with a nice comfortable chair that someone feels welcome, inviting to come and sit down, talk to you while you sit at your desk. Family members can come sit in there, put feet on the desk. I don't care. It's just a nice, another place in your house to hang out that's quiet, that might not have a TV, that kind of thing. So once everything's out, you're thinking about the merchandise. What kind of space? Now you can steal from your house and put things in that you've used in other rooms or bedrooms, and maybe it's a chair that in a guest room you haven't used before. Use it in your office, that kind of thing. In this one today, I'm bringing her a list of inspiration ideas that I have for her. I am not shopping as much for, I am for my desk, I should say. I'm doing home office. I'm shopping in my office for you, giving you ideas, whether you want to go get it or spend money on me to go get it. That is a thing as well. But I'm not out physically shopping as much just because of my schedule anymore. But I'm putting together the pieces that, if you approve of these, for example, a couple desk ideas here, got a couple console ideas here, and just finishing touches for the room down to the panels I'm going to put on the windows. Once I get the, yeah, go ahead, you know, and Pam, what would you do here? I'll tell her what my finals would be, but then I'll also give her, I have a couple backup options just because a desk is such a big deal. It's a personal decision on storage, stuff like that. There's some stuff I don't know that you have to tell me. Because it can look good all day long, but if it doesn't work, that's a problem. So that is coming to Debbie later this afternoon. Hi, Debbie. Once you get all the pieces in, once the pieces are ordered and come in, or you're recreating from other parts of your house, you will see in a picture of mine in the after shot today from this office 10 years ago of mine. I used an old farm table as my desk. I just needed a work surface. That was my biggest thing. You know what? I'm going to show you. I have it here, actually. I'm going to show you. And Karen Carter, you were the photographer on this. Thank you so much. We were doing something for, I think the news. Was it the news or a little magazine thing around here? And there I am with, what? 2 dogs, you say? Yes. That was Otis's friend, Buddy, who was in doggy heaven. But that, even now, I look at, I'm like, I still like my wallpaper choice. I still like what was behind me. That worked really well for storage. And that used to be a formal living room. Actually, when we found the house, you'll see in the picture, it was a shocking room full of junk. And that we got a great deal on that house because it was so wild. But the before, you'll see that as well. My office, even my tiny little space in the front of this house, has to work well. I want it to look good, but it has to work well. And usually that's a light. Oh, I'm going to address lighting really quick too. Pay attention to the light. Sometimes you don't even have a light above, but you have a outlet ready to go, a conduit ready to go for something. Do you have to have a fan? If you don't have to have a fan, I understand if you do. If you don't have a fan, consider a really great light fixture over your desk. It's a great look. It's really inviting. You can turn on a dimmer, so there's just kind of that ambient light. I usually sometimes then will put a lamp on the desk too, more for task lighting. But as far as chandelier, it's just a great look. It's really inviting. And there's all kinds of options now, and you don't have to spend a whole lot. Behind me, you'll see in the picture that you see there, I put what I call art lights. They're actually 4-inch cans. And so that lit my workspace really well, where I had a printer, I had a paper cutter, I could lay out my paint swatches, so I could also work right behind me. But it was a good use of the space. Think about how you're going to use it. So don't get too pretty. Think about how you're going to use it. I love mirrors. I love chalkboards. I love bulletin boards. Do get messy, I have to say. But other things like that, there's a great place you could put wallpaper, a really fun wallpaper. Mine was kind of more of a classic. I think it was out of a Ralph Lauren book. But I even love just the big bold. Have fun with it. It's your office. And it's your calling card, shall I say. It's in the front of the house. You want it to look good and not like an office out of the office. Boring, yawn. I hope that helped you. Again, you can do this in a back bedroom, apply it to wherever, but some of these rooms that we don't use, let's use them and let's have them look good. So I hope that helped you for today. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for listening to 2 videos today. I will see you end of this week.